swells. So we're just going to do a quick revision of the first section just to see if we're doing everything correctly. I'm mostly concerned about the end of the ambulance mode number 3. Okay, just getting up our speed. Then we're going to do the vibrato widths. So we're going to talk about narrow to wide, wide to narrow. We're going to talk about swells and speed variations and the importance of doing them. And then continuous speeds, slow continuous and then fast continuous. And then what we're going to do is next week we're going to really kind of implement that in some of the works that you guys are doing, okay? So just some quick revisions. So the important points about arm vibrato is that the entire arm moves as a unit, okay? So we're not leading with the wrist, okay, because that's wrist vibrato. You're always going to start on the principal note. You're never going to oscillate above the principal note, always below. And the fingers should be firm enough to stay in place, but flexible enough to give way to the impulse of the vibrato. Okay, so the main difference between wrist vibrato and arm vibrato is that wrist vibrato, the hand moves from the wrist joint. Okay, so if you watch the videos online in the Google Slides as well as my playlist on YouTube, you would notice that the wrist vibrato is more like this. That's very beneficial when you go higher up into the stratosphere of the instrument. And you can also do it in first position or lower in this part, that's fine. With arm vibrato though, you're going to move the entire arm as a unit, okay? So vibrato widths. So, oh actually, you know what, let's do a quick revision of what we did last week. About approximately how fast did you get your rhythms?
I don't know.
Yeah, oh, you're supposed to do it with metronome, right?
Yeah.
How fast did you go?
I tried 154 and I think I keep up to it.
Okay, let's do it. Rhythm number 1 on the D string. So thinking about the fingers in what would be E, F sharp, G natural, and then A. Okay, so where your principal position was, where your takes were originally, okay? So let's start with rhythm number 1, and we're going to jump a little bit, okay? So. Ready? And. So it's short, short, long, long, short, short. You can think of it that way. Ready? And. Sorry, I think we have to repeat the note. Sorry, I don't have the sheet. Okay, yeah, so one finger 4 times, I guess. Okay, let's do one finger 4 times. One more time. Ready? And. So let's crank it to 140 to start. Let's go back to rhythm number 1 and do exactly the same thing. This time, let's do up and down the scale, or up the fingerboard. Okay? So rhythm number 1. Ready? And. Doing the bow splits is a little bit more complicated, so maybe you can slur it by 2 bars at a time. So just do. Otherwise, it's a lot of down, up, down, up, down, up. You know, so just maybe do it that way, so you're doing longer lines with the bow. Okay. Yeah, I think it'll be a little bit easier. Okay, so that was that one. I would like to go to the ambulance mode, the one that is the third one. Okay. It starts with 8th notes, and then it goes to triplets, and then it goes to 16th notes. Okay, everyone's kind of smiling. Let's do this. So let's start it at 60 to the quarter. Okay, and then we'll increase the speed. So we're going to do it on an A major scale, 1 octave. Okay, it'll be. So that the vibrato is sounding like it's in tune. Okay, let's crank the speed on that one to 70. Okay, so these ones should be practiced just like that, but with your scales. And you should, because both of you are doing 3 octave scales, you definitely should be practicing them with your 3 octave scales. Exactly like that. No more than 10 minutes a day, as long as you're doing it with like proper technique, should be more than sufficient. Let's try it at 70. So let's try it. The 8th note, then the triplets, then the 16th notes again. Same thing. So 8th notes, ready? And And then you have to do sort of, and this is what we'll work on today, is just doing it kind of free bow. So without sort of pulsing and doing rhythms, vibrato is not like short, short, long, long, short, short, long, 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 short, short, short. Okay, right, it's really kind of free. It's really quite free, right? Okay, so we're gonna slowly get away from that. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so let's talk about vibrato widths. So to produce a wider vibrato, you're going to place the finger flatter, okay, so that more of the pad touches the string. And to produce a narrow vibrato, you're going to keep the finger placed on the string very upright so that the tip of the finger stops the string. Okay, so if you look at my left hand here, this, I'll just do it with my second finger because I find it my strongest. This is really sort of a wide vibrato. Okay, and then as it gets more narrow, it does still bend from here, but I use less of the finger pad. So if I'm going from a wide vibrato to something less, it's like that. If I go from something narrow to wider, okay, so obviously the arm motion increases as you're doing a wide vibrato, and then it minimizes as you're doing something more narrow. So the whole idea about the other rhythms that you have here, or the rhythms that we have now, is that we're going to practice them with doing, let's do a wide to narrow. So we're going to do rhythm number 1, let's do it on the A string, for example. So it'll be, we're going to go wide to narrow, right? My suggestion is, and we're just doing this rapidly to get through a lot of the materials, but my suggestion is to just even double up the amount of rhythms that you do per left hand. So that way you're really sort of practicing the wide to narrow a lot more. So.